I think team captains are a little bit organic. Of course, I can have someone that I feel is a captain, but the team can reject. So I try to go off of, if I just keep using as an example because you're a former athlete, when I got to the school, I'm looking for someone who has the drive to be good, the drive to be great, the drive to be, that has passion and people that respect him. So when I got there, that's like you and Izzy, like people like knew who you guys were. They related to you guys to ask you questions. And for me, on my personal level, who can I push and push and push and push? I know that regardless of the outcome, he'll come right back tomorrow asking for more. I know that I can trust him, and I know that from there I can say, hey, like Calvin, I need you to use for the team, and you're going to do it exactly the way it needs to be. And I think having a team captain is a little bit different in football. Of course, that may like operate every other week or a team votes. But track and field, it could be like your upperclassmen that just been there before that have somewhat of a captain role because they understand the system. And also sometimes your best people may not even be great leaders. Like they may be like a quiet leader where you're super talented but you're not vocal. So I think you need to have a leader that can be vocal, that can demand the respect of people, and also someone can go out there and drop a time or go out there and practice when it's tough. Last rep, like, let's go. Like, this is where we, got to have our mental breakthrough that people can relate. So it could be either or, but, I try to find people that are passionate about what they're doing, that teammates respect, because I can have someone out there that, like I said before, that no one respects, and it just makes the team chemistry trash, which I've seen also in the past 2 years after y'all guys left, how not having any great leadership, how that kind of impacts the team dynamics, and everybody just does their own thing, and it's hard to reel them in, and everyone is just kind of lost from there. So having a good leader, I think, makes the life easier for a coach, because it's almost like having a second coach on the court or on the field or on the track.
Okay. How will you describe your leadership style?
Man, my leadership style is me. So, like, I'm a very chill person. I like to crack jokes, but man, when it's go time, like it's like life or death. So like fall training, I think is so important, but we're building, so it may not be like go time. It's just we're trying to just build up. So I might have a rep where I may challenge you, but I may not go all the way until tap into like go time coach trigger type stuff. So I think how I describe my coaching style is just me. I think I'm passionate, but like when it gets time to like track season, I feel like every meet is important or more important than the last one. So if we go out there and we run, 52, cool. But the next week is a whole new week. So our mindset has to shift over to try to prepare, to try to execute and to do better, good or bad. So I'm very intense. So that may not be for a lot of people. Like some people may not like someone like really like passionate, holding to a standard. Some people may be like, okay, cool, you run bad, pat you on the back and go from there. Like, a lot of coaches that I had from, Coach Andreas as coach of world record on the hurdles, or Coach Kane or Coach Gibson are both at D1 schools in SEC, or even my dad, like they didn't play around like with anything. Like if you got tired in practice, or if you weren't doing you're supposed to, they got on you. So I'm the same that way. Like it's a standard that I feel you have to hold your athletes to, and I would hope that my athletes hold the same thing to me. So if they had the chance to coach and I was an athlete, or even as the athlete's perspective, they're holding me to the same standard I'm holding them. So, so for me, it's, I crack jokes. I love to crack jokes in practice, but 2 seconds later, you might see me just turn up because, it's a time and place for, fun and games. And then when it's time to get the workouts in, man, it's time to get that work, and we're trying to get better, than our opponents, but really ourselves. So I would say funny, but passionate. Funny, passionate, whatever floats y'all's boat.
In what ways does your personality impact the way you coach, good or bad? It's kind of the same, but you just said, but yeah.
Man, I think it could be good or bad. It could be times where, like last year's team, where we have a whole new team. I think in junior college, it's tough to, like, your year, like, yeah, you, Izzy, and Tim, and all these great people that came into our program, and even Trevor and Ivan, but then all you guys lead who are great leaders. Like, you guys kind of went out there and meets, and you guys performed at a higher level, in which kind of made everyone else fall in place. So that's good. But then when you go to last year's team, where it's not the same thing, I could be joking around, and then they joke around, and then we're cracking jokes, but then they don't understand there's a time and place for that. So it could be good. It could be good or bad. Where my personality is not for everyone, or pick and choose when you do stuff. But I think you got to just be real and authentic. So I said, for me, at the end of the day, like, I'm not perfect. So who I am is who I am. So, in 10 years from now, I might be completely different in how I approach things. But at 29, I just try to be myself. I don't try to be Coach Trey. I just try to be Trey Lathan or Howard Jerome Lathan III. I try to be a human. So people understand, like, I'm not just a coach. I have emotions. I make mistakes. And, we're going to work this up together. But I feel like it's good. But like I said, you could ask everyone who's successful, like you and everyone else, how they feel. It was tough, but it worked. And you could ask everyone else who's on the team, like, man, that guy was hard, man. He never let up on me, man, like every single day. So you're going to have that. So I kind of tend, like, that's why my personality is good. I feel like I'm a likable person. That's why I said I try to crack jokes and not make it too serious. But, we'll keep growing from there.
All right. How do you go about preparing, planning, and organizing as a coach? And why do you think it's important?
All right. So you said organizing and planning, and why I think it's important for,
Yeah,
like, something.
basically, as a coach, why you think organizing, planning, and all that good stuff is like really important for as a coach?
Man, I just think to have just a document, like, one of the biggest things I've learned as a young coach is do not be afraid to throw out the script that you wrote down. So if you have something that you have a plan that you want to stick by a book, I do a lot of Zoom calls, and everyone say, like, you have a set plan, but if something doesn't work, you throw it out. But you have to have something written down first. So in track and field, of course, you have every season, every fall, or every phase of your fall training preparation phase, all that stuff like that. So I think it's just good to be organized, and, like, every year you kind of go back and you can say, well, last fall in 2018 we did this, that worked, I didn't like that, I could take that out, and then next year you kind of start over again. Versus if you just kind of go on the fly, you don't have anything to kind of go off of, to kind of have like a surface, or just kind of like, I guess, a bank to kind of go off of. And then also there could be athletes that you might have that are similar, maybe had an injury that you kind of did different, like a kid that has a hamstring injury. Maybe we just do 3-day rollover practice where we do something Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then we take the rest of the week off and go back, and that was successful. And if that happens again, you would like to know, oh crap, like, I can just go back to this scene and kind of figure out stuff. So I don't like to be a hoarder of stuff, but, like, if I go on my app, my MacBook, or even my iPad, like, I would see nothing but, like, workouts, notes that I wrote down, even like my notebook that I lost like 1,000 times, which, man, that stuff broke my heart when I lost probably like 3 notebooks, so I got to write stuff down. I just think it's just good to be organized and just try to figure out how to be successful and kind of keep getting better. And then it helps you kind of understand where your team was versus this time from last year, or this time, now, even with, like, I still have stuff written down from you when I'm like, well, if this where Calvin was, let me see where this person was. Okay, cool, we're in this track. Or even when you PR this year, I'm like, well, this is where he was this time, this is where he is now, and this is what I thought he could have ran, but this is where he ran the year before. You kind of get to tell, not saying that's going to be, the the bottom line which you're going to run, but it's good to kind of see.
Okay. Why is it critical for coaches to consider age, skill level, and other environmental contexts?
For age, if you have a kid that does AAU track that's been doing it since they were age 7, I think it's important not to get kids burnt out. If they have the potential to run a 400, we're not trying to give them Speed City at 7. Like, that's just going to, at some point, tap into the system that they're not going to be able to tap into when they get to be in high school, until they're going to burn out. So I think it's just smart to kind of see what the ages are for kids, how long they've been running for. If it's someone like who is really young, like it was for me at times, trying to be patient, even though someone has the talent, but they're still learning to do it. Or even if someone's at a younger age, like I said before, does AU track, trying to figure out what they've done and trying to keep expanding their career, and also environment. You said environment.
Yeah, environmental context. Yeah.
So like, I guess that I would assume that means like their living situation. I think just being kind of just open minded. Every athlete is going to come from different walks of life. Some people might be rich, some people might be poor, some people might have both parents, some people may have no parents, and just kind of figure out what's going to be the best success for them and what they need to be successful. There's a lot of kids be coming to have off the track issues that you have to kind of account for if they're having to stay up because they're working part-time job or full-time job. That's going to play into effect how they operate for school, operate for practice. So just trying to be lenient with that to try to get the kids to be successful. Because some kids may not have to work at all in junior college. Like it's tough. Like out here in Arizona, we don't have dorms, so most kids can't just sit home. Excuse me. Or some kids might be able to sit home. Like other places, like when I went to Kansas, you have a dorm, someone's paying for you, you have a meal plan. Life is stressful, but not as stressful as someone out here in Arizona where you have to work, or maybe you're coming from Gilbert or Mesa or, Flagstaff, and it's a whole different environment for you that you kind of get used to. So just trying to make it easy for kids to kind of go from there. Was there any other questions you asked, or that was it? Those two?
Oh.
Okay.
All right. Hold on real quick. All right. So I'm trying to see what this question is actually. Okay. How do you have positive relationships with parents, administrators, fellow coaches, and other stakeholders?
Well, I guess in junior college, you rarely meet parents, but when you do meet them, you just want to be positive. I mean, I guess in high school, let me back up again. So for me, the most I'm going to meet parents is going to be in recruiting trips. So try to be open, lend them their ear, they're going to be comfortable giving their kids to you. And then when you go from there, you don't really hear from too much. In high school, you see parents all the time. Like if the kid don't run fast, they're pulling up to the track. Why is my kid out on the 4x4? That was one of the biggest things I think I hated when I did high school for a year, because, you realize with parents, everyone thinks they're a coach. So you want to be respectable, also kind of understand, like, hear their opinions if it's an actual thing, but also kind of get them the comfort, like, it's a method to the madness why we're doing this way. I would say a story, but I'll probably leave it for a later question. But for people who have like a huge part in what you guys do, like if we have alumni or even like at U of A, like it's someone that's has a piece in the pie of getting you something. You want to make sure that you're not necessarily like that you're kissing their butt. Like you want to make sure that you're nice to them because they have a huge part of what your program does. I know at OU we had people that were able to help fundraise some of our meets, the Booster Club. So you ain't trying to go out there and I'm on, I guess, Instagram the first time, really Twitter. I'm out there like blasting the guy who's the meet's name out there. He also helps with the meet. And then we lose sponsorship because, I wasn't being too careful with that. So I think you just got to have a nice relationship with anyone you meet, regardless. But people who play a huge part of your team's program or what you're able to do, then you want to make sure that you always establish yourself and always give up positive energy. So it's nothing that they can kind of say to do hurt against your team or yourself.
Okay.